I didn't grow up in Christian culture or as a Christian. Of course, I grew up, and like typical disenfranchised community, gang influences. You make it to the NBA or you become a rapper. I clearly didn't make it to the NBA, and but I had a very brilliant mother who encouraged us to read, and so I had just an appetite to learn and to read, and it fueled a lot of my skepticism. And growing up without my biological father, I found myself in a very precarious situation of just insecurity and pain. And the Christian community was, for what I thought at the time, was like the salve to that pain that I was experiencing. Now, it was a very American kind of Southern conservative evangelical version of Christianity. And for a while, I just assumed that all of the problems that I had experienced in life would dissipate because I had this new family. But once some issues within the African American community started to become prominent, specifically the murder of Trayvon Martin. And I spoke up about it. I was met with a lot of backlash from the evangelical community, which kind of struck me, like, it took me aback. Like, I'm confused. Where do we see differently? And so for me, the only context I have for Christianity was kind of that evangelical culture. And I had assimilated a group of thinkers and leaders and pastors that I just thought would be supportive of me, and regardless. And I was met with a lot of silence. And Tim Keller was one of the voices that I had kind of gravitated to, though he didn't quite fit that kind of cultural space. He was still a voice that those people listened to. And man, in the midst of that silence, in the midst of people kind of pushing against me and just saying, man, like, your views are inconsistent with God's views, I was confused. I was so confused. I just kind of was disenfranchised and did a bit of deconstruction where I didn't know if this Christian faith was real. But Tim's voice would keep echoing, and he would say things that pushed back on these perspectives, and even to the point where he disassociated with the term evangelical because it has such negative connotations. And that, to me, was very helpful because it allowed me to continue to hold on to my faith in Jesus, even if the cultural context around it was confusing and didn't make sense. And I just greatly appreciate him for being patient and walking through. He wrote a book called Prodigal Prophet that dealt with Jonah, that really like walked me through the darkest season I've ever experienced. And then for him to kind of invite me in to be a contributing author to a book, and just to sit and talk with him in St. Louis, and just to get, I just sat and talked with me, and just wrestled with stuff, and his perspectives were much different than I had imagined. And that, to me, was probably like more powerful than I think anybody would ever understand or know.